I
Julia?
have to say, it does. It does. You have a very strong feeling these days that an awful lot of the sort of the political world is gradually coming round to our way of thinking, as in net zero is insane, impossible to achieve, undesirable and unaffordable, etc., etc. They seem to be getting there slowly but surely. We've got the Reform Party. We've now got the Tories. They're looking at, we think, possibly dropping net zero, but certainly the announcement today from Kemi Badenoch, the Tory leader, that basically saying that the Labour Party are treating North Sea as a relic of the past, and she wants to use oil and gas extradition as the cornerstone of our economy. That's a good news story for, well, let's face it, sanity, isn't it?
It is a good news story for sanity, but as you kind of alluded to in your introduction, it may just be too little, too late. The North Sea is in such a state already that I don't know how much we will lose, even if there is a reversal here. But yeah, we should welcome it. The Conservatives have been teetering in this direction. We had Kemi Badenoch's statement a few months back where she said that net zero by 2050 was impossible. Okay, that's something, but it does still sound a little bit like they would still want to do net zero. Yeah. So
they just sort of push it back a bit. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. But on the other hand, yeah, this is clearly recognizing the hard facts that we need oil and gas, and we will keep needing oil and gas.
No, we can power everything in this country with a windmill. Andrew, I will not have that climate denier talk on my show.
You're just a heretic there, yes.
I mean, that's the madness, isn't it? That's where we are. So yeah, they're creeping very slowly to it. But we've been hearing lots of reports lately about the Norwegians. I mean, we know they've got this sovereign wealth fund. They didn't just spaff it all up the wall on various tax cuts and selling off of family silver in the 80s when we had all those amazing tax receipts from North Sea oil. They actually put it into a sovereign wealth fund. We should have thought of that. Okay, we're past the peak, most likely, a long way of North Sea oil and gas extraction. But we know that the Norwegians have found new supplies in areas where we also have access, but we've stopped doing the drilling. I mean, that is crazy because a lot of the time we are still importing oil and gas from Norway when they're getting it from the parts of the sea which we are also entitled to get it from. That just doesn't make sense either on net zero terms or indeed on economy and the balance of trade terms.
Yeah, absolutely, and filling the government coffers as well. Of course, the government is looking at running out of money fairly soon. So yeah, some tax revenues from the North Sea really would be quite welcome. And of course, it's not just the North Sea. There's new fields out to the west of Shetland that we've only really just started getting into. There's shale gas across the north of England. There's coal bed methane, and there's still coal supplies, and we are going to need fossil fuels for decades to come. So this is just a reflection of reality. But I think we still have to worry about the Green Tories, because the Green Tories, I think, are still there in the background. They've been quite quiet this time. They haven't been complaining about what Kemi Badenoch's saying. Maybe they've seen the writing on the wall. They can see that really net zero is heading for a big crash fairly soon. Maybe they're just biding their time. We don't know. Yeah. But I think we should welcome what's happened.
I do think, things like immigration, law and order and the economy are going to be massive issues at the next general election. But I think net zero is a big part of it. And certainly when people criticise reform and say, how are you going to fund X or Y policy? The answer should always be getting rid of net zero, because net zero is such a costly policy. And we feel it not just on our energy bills. It's in everything that we buy, isn't it? In terms of the extra transport costs for everything, the extra production costs, the lack of jobs that we have here because of those extra production costs, because what's our manufacturing base, the energy that they use, 4 times the price that they're paying in factories and shop floors in America. You can't compete with that.
No, that's right. And we have the highest electricity prices in the developed world. And, they're going to go up quite quickly if Ed Miliband succeeds in getting this new wave of wind farms brought onto the grid. Now, what is that going to do to what is left of our manufacturing industry? Well, the answer is it's going to kill it stone dead. Yeah. All those people are going to be put out of work, and the welfare bill is going to go through the roof. And what's that going to do to the state of the government finances? It's going to be a catastrophe. But I think what people don't realise, Julia, is that it's really very, very very hard to get out of this, because we have been tied into long-term contracts with these wind farms, which essentially means there's no way of reversing this.
And we've got acts of parliament requiring that every decision about everything has to be referred to, you know, net zero policies and our duty to deliver on this 2050 target that's unachievable. And the thing is, I think a lot of people don't understand, and again, it's like whether it's the 2030 target for net zero for electricity, a lot of people think it's energy. No, it's just for energy, electricity, 20% of our energy needs, or the 2050 target. This doesn't mean, and again, a lot of the people pushing this don't seem to understand this either. This doesn't mean we're not using fossil fuels. We'll still be using probably almost as much gas and oil as we've been using already, maybe even more, given a lot of the industries people want, things like, you know, AI, which involve massive amounts of electricity being used. But we're going to import it, because on the net zero thing, this is how crazy it is. If you don't extract it yourself and you don't make anything here yourself using it, you just import it. You don't have to sort of count that in the ledger for or against until it actually hits our shores, so that we can claim that we're net zero, even though what we're buying is being made in a coal-fired factory in China, extracted and travelled around the world on diesel or oil-powered tanker, or flown on a jet. You know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't count until it's within our geographial shores. So it's a nonsense.
Right. It's an accounting trick.
Yeah, I mean, and we're going to basically put ourselves in penury and not be able to pay our bills and have pensioners die of cold in the winter, all of jobs lost. We're going to do all of that for an accounting trick that will mean nothing.
Yeah, that's right. And this is where, you know, we really have to have a serious conversation about whether Ed Miliband should be allowed to continue in office. I mean, if it was, Keir Starmer really ought to be looking at him and going, this guy is nuts. He is going to absolutely tank the country and wreck the economy for decades, and I'm going to let him do it.
But why is everyone blaming just Ed Miliband? He's become a sort of a hate figure. Keir Starmer appointed him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I assume this is internal party politics in the Labour Party, that, you know, he's got to keep the hard left on side, and that's Ed Miliband's side of the party.
And also, I suppose, the Green side of the party. Just finally, I want to ask you, the Green Party have just announced the election of Zach Polanski as their new party leader, overwhelming majority there. And he's very much talked about, you know, wanting to sort of take the party to possibly even doing deals, you know, being open to deals, certainly with Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultano's new sort of, you know, Gaza lefty party. I'm sure you, like me, would like to welcome Zach Polanski as a new Green Party leader, but how worried are you about some of his policies?
I actually quite like the idea that they will get together with the Corbynistas, because that should kill them stone dead, shouldn't it? I mean, because, you know, that's two bunches of absolute nutters working together. I mean, as an electoral prospect, it's not really
British
going
public
to sell
quite
well.
like them. Remember, Jeremy Corbyn got really close to power in 2017.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, I suppose there is that. I think the reality is that we are moving onto a new world where reality is going to play a much bigger part than the sort of, you know.
I love the idea of reality playing a part in politics.
I mean, I mean, you know, you've got the Greens who are living in a fairy story, and you've got Jeremy Corbyn, who's sort of living in this sort of, you know, student politics fantasy world too. Yeah, we can't afford it anymore. We've got to move on and get back to hard-nosed reality.
Andrew Montford, always so good to talk to you.